With the PS4 and Xbox One now officially out in the open, gamers will soon be picking sides and deciding which platform will be seeing them into the next generation. Now obviously it's too early to tell which console will emerge victorious, but we can start drawing up some comparisons based on what we know so far. So we've drafted in our TechRadar experts to offer a little bit more insight on each console and what they're bringing to the battlefield.
With the Xbox One and the PS4, Microsoft and Sony actually pitched themselves quite differently. So with the PS4, Sony came out, showed us the controller, but they didn't actually show us what the console looks like. It did, however, mean they could talk much more about the games and software coming to the PS4. Whilst with the Xbox One, Microsoft showed us the console from the start, showed us the controller, but talked a lot more about the multimedia aspects of the console and less about the games. So at E3 we expect that's going to turn on its head, so we'll see Sony come out and actually show us what the PS4 looks like, talk about the architecture, whilst Microsoft will be able to come on and just talk completely about the games.
Memory, or RAM, is going to be a really important battleground. There's already a lot of talk about the fact that the PS4 is using GDDR5 RAM, 8 gigs of it. The Xbox has also got 8 gigs, but it's using DDR3, which is a little bit slower. Again, I think it's going to come down to developers and whether they're going to use their extra memory to really do something impressive. And really, in real life terms, I'm not sure we're going to see a huge amount of difference in say, a FIFA 14 or a Call of Duty.
The Xbox One and PS4, there's obviously loads of emphasis on the controller. So at the PS4 event, Sony came out, and though it didn't talk about the console, there was loads of talk about the actual controller itself. We know that developers have had a say as well. Evolution Studios, the team behind MotorStorm and Drive Club, they've got on board and had an input into the controller design. The gamepad also has a cool little touchpad, so that'll offer a range of new ways of interacting in-game, though we actually haven't seen it used to its full potential yet. With the Xbox One controller, there's not actually too many differences between that and the 360 controller. A few little tweaks here and there, such as the D-pad and the home buttons we moved up. A nice new feature though is the impulse triggers, which offer a whole new set of vibration inside the trigger, meaning if you're in game, you fire a gun, you'll feel the vibration start at the bottom of the controller and move up to the triggers, which is a cool little feature.
I think everyone knows that a big portion of this generation of consoles will be competing in motion control. Xbox have obviously had real success with Kinect, whereas the Move sort of faded away into the background a little bit. And I think Sony will be very aware that in the PSI they really need to prove that they've nailed it as well. Saying that, the Xbox Kinect looks like it's really improved in this generation. They've got a much better camera, it can deal with more people at the same time, but more importantly it can deal with smaller rooms, which is actually a real problem with it at the moment. Basically you needed a huge living room and to move all your furniture out of the way just to make it work. It'll be really interesting to see if the PSI can compete with that kind of thing, and I think it will be a real factor in terms of bringing in the family audience.
A big win for the Xbox One is the exclusive content it's been promised. So Microsoft has said there'll be 15 exclusive games coming to the console in the first year, 8 of which will be brand new IPs. EA has also said that FIFA 14 will be getting some exclusive content on the console, and we know that Call of Duty Ghosts will be bringing its download content to the Xbox One before anyone else. The PS4, on the other hand, also has its range of exclusive titles. We've got Drive Club, which will be going up against Forza. We've got Killzone Shadowfall, which is promising to be a big title as well. And there are generally just a greater range of games shown off at the PS4 launch event to get PlayStation gamers excited.
I think it's really interesting that both the PS4 and the Xbox One are going to go with an AMD chipset. So that's Intel out of the equation, but it's really interesting because in GPU terms, the PS4 has gone for quite a powerful option. The Xbox has gone for a system on a chip option. That's not to say one's better than the other, but I think there'll be a lot of fanboy talk about which one's doing the best kind of graphics. The honest truth is that the games will pretty much end up looking very similar across both of them because the developers won't want to be concentrating on one platform or another.
If you've already picked a corner for the next gen battle, we want you to tell us who and why. You can also keep up to date with all the latest Xbox One and PS4 news by subscribing to our YouTube channel or by heading over to techradar.com, where you'll find all our news, reviews and features.